Pooh's To Do is a really sweet Book of Pooh episode. This is the second segment of the third episode of the first season. It's not the most interesting narrative, but I think it could potentially be quite inspiring because Rabbit's fed up of Pooh Bear always being late. So Rabbit decides to create a schedule for Pooh Bear, and that's a really great thing, particularly maybe for young children who are often late or unorganized. Helping them to follow a schedule is a really positive thing and can encourage children to, be a little less chaotic. However, it's not just Pooh Bear who has to learn to use a schedule, but Rabbit has to learn that everybody works in different ways. And Rabbit's schedule that he creates for Pooh Bear is very much a rabbit schedule. It's all about doing so many things in such a short amount of time and hopping around everywhere that Rabbit doesn't realize that Pooh Bear's schedule needs to be different. It needs to be done in a way that's suitable for Pooh Bear. And Rabbit then ultimately creates, I guess this is a spoiler, I'll discuss what happens at the end if you don't want it spoiled, but to get around this problem and to find a solution that's beneficial for everybody, Rabbit creates this list of pictures for Pooh Bear that helps him to follow things in an orderly fashion, but at a pace that works for him. Previously, the list had been written. Pooh Bear can't read, so he needed Owl to read it. And of course, when Owl read it, it was full of so many things that just didn't fit in with Pooh Bear's way of doing things. So Rabbit had to realise that not everybody works in the same way. And I think that that's such an important lesson for any adults watching it, particularly adults who might be either teachers or employers. It's important to know that not everybody who you are managing or teaching or looking after will do things in the same way, and it's really sometimes necessary to adapt things. And of course that's important for parents to realise too, because certainly it can seem very easy to just give a child a set of instructions and assume that they'll be able to do everything the way that you as an adult do them. But as we see with Pooh Bear, not everybody operates in the same way. And I like that message. I think it's a really, really important message that I think is easy to forget. As I said, the narrative itself wasn't that interesting in terms of the specifics, in terms of what happens. It definitely wasn't the most fascinating. There was a fun song. Pooh Bear did sing a song about the way that Pooh does things, which I thought was quite cute. But the specifics were, well, they were fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I didn't, completely love it. But the messages there are great. It's really nice to follow a schedule, but it's always important to remember people do things in their own way, and that's not necessarily a bad thing.